Anastasia, Eike, so good to have you here. You've recently embarked into a transformation with Henkel, where you partner with BCG, but also with CreativeX. Do you want to share a little bit more about this journey?
Yes, happy to. Good morning, first of all, and great to be here. So the amount of assets that we are currently creating really picked up like crazy. As you know, we built with BCG a very clear set of creative guidelines that we apply to all of our creatives. However, as the amount really picked up, we did this before. We checked every asset by hand. This doesn't work anymore. This is really not something that we can push forward. To give you a number, last year we released 23,000 creatives, so we needed an automated solution. And therefore, we looked at CreativeX, which can really help us check our creatives at scale.
And us adding extra pressure with our golden rules, I'm sure it's actually not making your job easier. So can you tell us more about CreativeX and how you're enabling clients to bring this creative performance at scale?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, we have to take a step back and admit that creative measurement is pretty broken today. If our CEO or CMO came to us and said, what creative decisions have you made that have had a measurable impact on the business? I think a lot of marketers would swallow hard. And so CreativeX is really intent on solving the creative measurement problem at scale for the world of digital. There are three components to this. The first one is any creative anywhere. We pull every creative into our system, whether it's from your DAM, your media accounts, and get it all into one place. The second part is creative signal extraction. How do we overlay AI technology to really understand what are the creative decisions you're making inside your advertising and aggregate them to the kinds of things that matter to Henkel? And third, we embed that data into tools for change. So if your creative agency wants to understand, hey, is the content I'm making in line with what Henkel cares about? They can do that. If your media agency wants to understand what percentage of our media spend is going behind the things that matter to Henkel, there's now reporting that does that across every ad that they are running.
Eike, can you tell us more about the results of all of this effort?
Absolutely. So there are different dimensions that we are looking at. Let's start at the bottom of the funnel, the ROAS, so the return on ad spend that we always measure. That's actually one of our key metrics. And we have seen a 30 to 50% increase, actually improvement of the ROAS versus the business as usual. But not just that. So also if we go on upper funnel on consideration, but especially on ad recall, we have seen a 48% improvement in ad recall for our creators.
Anastasia, you've been a critical component in this effort. What advice you have for marketing leaders?
So the one thing I would encourage everyone to think about is how do you scale and operationalize the change? In our process, BCG and Henkel did the hard work of setting up the golden rules. But what we really want to do was incorporate that in Henkel's ways of working. And so what we did is we codified them into machine readable format. We automated them to get them as real time as possible. And then we embedded them into their ways of working so that from creative agencies to media agencies, we can really understand the adoption of the golden rules and measure how we were tracking, but also really measure their media impact, which Eike spoke very eloquently about.
Yeah, great. Eike, Anastasia, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.